Hey everybody, I'm going to be doing a over dye process on this t-shirt. I'm first going to do a heart pattern, and to do that I'm going to fold this inside of itself, line up the seams so that we get a symmetrical design on each side. That'll end up with a t-shirt that looks quite like this. Then we're going to line these up a bit better. A lot better, actually. Huh. Alright, so then we're going to pull out the front here and do a heart design. Make sure the t-shirt's nice and flat. We're going to go 3 finger lengths from the collar. Actually, probably 4, maybe even, yeah, probably a whole hand length, just because I'm going to start there and, excuse me, I'm going to start there and arch my heart up pretty big. We're going for probably about a 12-inch heart. Alright, that will do for our purposes. And I'm going to start the fold at the top here just because I find it easier to keep my line straight with that, and then I end up with a better end result. And so we're just going to do 1/4 to 1/2 inch folds here, keeping your line straight. You want to make sure you keep your line straight because that's ultimately what's going to be your heart design. Just takes a bit of practice, but pretty easy once you get the hang of it. And the more folds the better. Some people like to do big, like 1/2 inch folds or so, just to make your line straight and quick, but I prefer a bit more folding just because you get a nice fun design as long as you can keep that pattern. My line's a little bit wonky, but it will do. That's about as straight as we'll get it there. Could probably try a little harder, but I think that'll do for us. So just give that a little tension every time you pull, and it should kind of bite down on itself. I'm reusing sinew, so my sinew broke. but that's not normal. And as long as you've got that pattern in there, you can make sure you've got a good few wraps on there, and then pull it, and that'll give you a good white line. Just gonna snip this here. Gotta get the scissors out of my rubber band bag. Give it a little tail just so it'll make it easier once you're doing your washout. But that essentially is your heart, and yeah. I'm gonna next do a mandala on the back, probably a 12-point mandala, and then we'll get it over to the dye station. I'm gonna do my mandala, and I'm going to attempt a 12-point mandala. I've commonly done 8-point, which is easier, but we're going to attempt a 12-point. And I want the middle to start here, about the middle of the back of the shirt. So we're just going to fold over like that. Make sure you keep your shirt flat as possible. So there's one fold that would accomplish a 4-point mandala, or dream catcher, whatever you want to call it. This next fold will give you an 8-point mandala. Then I'm going to fold it once more. Just trying to line up my edges here, because that's real important. So last fold here, it's going to be tight, but I think it'll work. So now I'm going to flip it over, making sure to try and retain those edges. Flatten it out as best you can. And then we'll do the folds again. And again, one fold will accomplish a 4-point. This next fold will accomplish an 8-point, which is what a lot of people do. And then the 12 points a little bit more advanced. Not really more advanced, it's just one more fold, but just takes a little more time. So now I'm going to begin twisting or tying up my mandala. Having trouble getting this little first knot here. It's a slip knot I like to do with the mandalas just to help get that first little bit going. Sometimes if that doesn't work, I'll throw it through there like that. One, two, three, pull. Then I'm going to go back a little and at an angle as well. 3 wraps and a good pull. typically sometimes I'll do even 5 to 10 wraps sometimes, just to try to really ensure I get a good white line. Sometimes also I'll stick a rubber band just to try to hold my mandala up at the top, because oftentimes it's easy to lose your folds as you're trying to tie that sinew. And that's what you don't want. One, two, three. Pull. 1, 2, 3, and pull. Kind of feel it bite down in there. I'm also trying to retain my lines, my edges here on the mandala. And it can be a little bit of a hassle. Sometimes you might need to go back and refold. That's better than ending up with a messy result because you didn't take your time. And so this mandala is going to take a while. You can fast forward to the end part of me folding if you'd like, or just keep on watching. I'll probably talk a little bit more about the process. My process anyway. So I like to try and keep tension on it the whole time, just because it helps you really get that good white line. And if you go at an angle, you can pull that way and then pull back down to get a nice sharp little point. But essentially you're just going up and pulling down and up and back down to ensure that you get a nice crisp line there. So you can see we've still got our folds pretty decent. Gonna take this first rubber band off and keep going. So once again, you can really feel that sinew bite down when you're pulling real tight. Oops. Had a break. Sometimes when that happens, I just tie it up real quick, and I know it's not the most professional way to do it, but gets you by in a pinch. And you can just keep on tying, do another couple loops until you get that piece that was cut, and then just pull it tight, and there you go. Simple, quick fix, because we're almost done. Get this last rubber band out of here. You can see the edges are still mostly lined up. Probably try and do at least a few more wraps here. I think this will be the last little bit there. Yeah, and I might do a heart on the shoulders. I think that'd be pretty fun and playful. So that might be my next step before the dye station. So there you have it. There's your mandala. Leave a little extra tail so you can figure out where to untie it. So I'm really aiming for dye control. I want to make sure I really use my color wisely. So I'm making the heart red. I'm just going to go with red, yellow, and green. Those are some of my favorite colors. And go for red on the sleeve as well. Kind of messed up there. Just thinking back, I probably should have laid my yellow first. Typically it's best to lay your lighter colors first. So I'm going to let that sit and come back. Hey everybody, I'm back. I let this red sit for a bit. And so, yeah, I'm probably going to do a few applications of dye. Just a little bit of red all over the scrunch. I think would be fun. I'm gonna spritz it a little with this is highly concentrated soda ash water. Just kind of help things get in there. It's almost spreading the dye in an undesirable way, but we'll see what happens here. Wow, interesting. Gonna get some yellow on here. Love that yellow. Honestly, I can't think of what yellow and red make off the top of my head, but hopefully it's not some ugly color. This dry fabric will take a lot of dye. Gotta really saturate these mandalas with the color. I'm gonna check in the mandala folds later. Now time to get some green. This is a custom green. It's very bright. And again, dye control because you don't want the green and the red mixing, nor the green and the yellow. Kind of like that just did. And it will happen, but just being slow and mindful makes all the difference. Get some nice green in there. Some green up here. So I'm going to let that sink in there for a sec. Add a little more. See if we can get some on there. A little more green dye. So there's all those folds. Try and get the dye saturated in there. Just kind of reapplying some dye so that I can be sure to get a good mandala. I'm going to leave these areas a little bit white, but I think I will go back and do some re-dyeing and reapplying colors. And like I said, this is ultimately gonna hopefully have a black cross there. And so that's the goal. Gonna flip it and try and get the same pattern on this side. And again, I should be laying my light colors first, trying to be mindful of my colors. Gonna try to get a good amount of yellow up in here. Love that yellow. And when it combines with the green, it'll just make a nice light green, so really can't go wrong with the yellow. Gonna resaturate this side with the red as well. Maybe do a little bit of red up here just to kind of cover things. Mix it up a little. Some more yellow. Gonna get some green in here. Trying to be slightly creative in my color placement, but also don't want to get too crazy. I know it's all art, but I do want to try to get some form of replicatable pattern down. And I'm just going to hit everything with a little bit of yellow to cover up any white. It'll also lighten up some colors. And also get me some good dye saturation. Gotta check my pockets here. Doing pretty good. Let's see. Seems to be some decent color saturation in the mandala. Might try a little bit more red in there. Just to really mix it up. So I'm going to let this set for about 24 to 48 hours. Just let all that chemical reaction happen, and yeah. Then we'll wash it out and do the reveal. Thanks for joining.